welcome back to my channel. My name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and here on my channel I love to share what I get up to in my creative journey. And today I have set up my table to show you what I've been up to. I have been working on being more strategic in my art practice. I think I've mentioned this over these past weeks on how I want to be more efficient. I want to be more proactive. I really want to fine-tune what it is that I'm doing in my art process and get into the swing of that. So that is what I've been doing. And yeah, so what I've done is I have a collection of pieces that I've cut out like this, sizes of paper. I'm just collecting them now, so you're going to see me replace this pile with some others as well. So I have quite a lot of them, and I have been working on them over a couple of days, but I'm still putting some layers on them. So I am going to just pile them up here and work on one after the other and show you what I am up to in the process. So as I'm going along, I will just have a little topic that came to mind while I was working on this new series, this new collection, and yeah, just chat a little bit about that. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. If this is you returning, thank you so much for coming back and spending the time. So yeah, I have this pile here. This is 28 pieces that I've cut, and what I did was, because I'm trying to be proactive, I've cut them to be the size that would fit one of my mounts that I have been buying. So let me just see if I can find an example of that mount that I am talking about. I've been piling quite a few things on top of each other here, so I'm just going to see if I can find the specific one that I have. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun trying to work out how to go about this new journey I'm on in creativity. So let me see, is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this mount. I have like a collection of them here. So this would be for smaller ones. And this is a slightly different thickness in the border. But yeah, so what I've done is I've cut them so that they can fit into this mount size. And that is where I'll go with, once these pieces are finished, then I will have them mounted as well. So yeah, I've got 28 of them here that I've been working on the background simultaneously, adding the same colors over and over again. And I've only just recently started adding a difference in color. So I have this kind of peachy color that I've added onto about 10 of them. Then I've also added this gray that I've mixed. So these are the colors here that I've mixed. I've been trying to be very good at not just taking the colors straight out of the tube and trying to pre-mix colors regardless of whatever colors combinations I got. I just wanted to start having that example of pre-mixed colors, and also I can add these colors to, you know, saturated straight out of the tube colors just to change them slightly. So that's what I've done here, and I'm really excited about that. So I have this peach one I was saying, this color I've added on the top. I have this gray that I've added, and I have a green. So this was from this collection I have to the side here. And I will also use some saturated colors. I'll just show you. I bought myself some more fluorescent paints, and it's not sponsored, but I bought myself another collection of saturated fluorescent acrylic because I got smaller tubes the last time, and I really enjoyed the way that the results I got from them, the way that I used them, the results I got. So I have these colors that I will also use onto this as well for the pieces I want to create. And I'm trying not to think ahead at what I could use these art pieces for. I'm just trying to work through the process of layering at the moment. And part of that layering as well, I don't know if you can see here, there's a little bit of a pattern there. Let me see if I can find another one that's a bit clearer. But there's scratching in the surfaces, all sorts of things going on. So this might be a bit clearer. What I did was I have some stencils as well. I think I'll bring the stencils back out. And I put some of the colors, the acrylic paint, through the stencils. And this one was like a honeycomb one. So that's what this is here. So I really liked the way that that resulted. So yeah, it's just going through these. I've got 10 of different colors, combinations that I've added so far, but I might just leave that behind now and just work on whatever. But also what I did with one of the layers as well was start to draw into them. So let me just see if I can find the 5 that I did that to. So I started also now using my Neo color to draw into them. So I might do that first to get some extra lines into this before I go back into color as well. And also I have a whole bunch of tools just here that I want to use, and I've got a lot of tools that I use in my creative process, but these are some of the ones I've not used as much, so I wanted to bring them out and hopefully at some point through the process go through these. So as I use them, and what I've been doing is using them on all of them, all these pieces. I want marks that are similar on all of these pieces, and I want to see what the result will be of that kind of layering, and enjoy that. So once I use them, I'll put them to the side, like on my left, to kind of like tell myself I've already used that tool. So, but I'm going to be using each one with different colors, different combinations through all of these papers, and work away that way. So that is what I've been doing, not thinking overly about it. I know that originally I wanted to have my stags on these, the smaller pieces, so I might do that. It might end up being landscapes. So many things can come out of this. It might end up being part of my portrait work as well. So I'm going to enjoy the process, and whatever speaks to me as I'm doing it is what I'll come out with. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing, and as I'm working through this process, we can have that chat that I was talking about. So yeah, I have been thinking about this, what really interests me in this kind of abstract work. Why is it that I enjoy spending my time just working on these kind of layering? You know, there's different kind of artists. Some people love to do portraiture, some people like mainly landscape. They focus on things, but then how they go about creating that work is really interesting. We are not magicians. When we are creating things, we do not just, you know, bring out a wand and say a couple of words and the image or whatever it is we're trying to do just appears. That's not how creativity works, and I just found it really interesting, as in this currently looks the way it does. It could end up being that I create abstracts from this as well, because I have a whole range of artwork subject matters that I cover, so it might end up being that as well. And so I am just looking at the process, repetitiveness, trying not to think too much about it, trying to use, you know, like a weaker hand, like if I use my left hand here. People talk of the left side and the right side of the brain, and I just want to basically focus on the process, and that's why I've been setting myself up for this. But in this abstraction, in this process of abstraction, I will eventually find something that is attractive to me, that I think is beautiful, and that is what I wanted to name this time with you guys, is the beauty in the abstract. You know, life can throw a lot of things at us. We can have sometimes, you know, moments where we feel out of control and we don't know what to do about those situations. But then there are moments that are so beautiful, and there are glimpses of in the detail that really make us stop, and sometimes we'll gasp with surprise at what we're seeing. Other times it will be something that has made us be full of wonder. And I think that that's part of the attraction for me for creating my abstract art, because this is part of the conversation as artists and creative people that we always have, is what is it I'm trying to do? What's the purpose of this? What's the point? You know, do I need to do this? You know, is it really worth spending my time in this profession, in this, interest of mine. But I feel like, for me, I love to discover those beautiful moments in the abstract. And as I'm talking to you, I am not thinking about anything I'm doing. I'm just, adding the lines, trying to be organic. And I know I will find areas that I will love. I'm trusting that I will find moments that I will love. And I feel like life is like that. Because sometimes I think about what is the point of what I'm doing, the inspiration behind it. What is driving me? Why am I spending the time to be creative, to spend my time in art? And I love it when someone will look at a piece of artwork and they'll be impacted by it. But then this is the process behind it. This is me being free to be myself. And then I end up sharing with others, and that ends up impacting them in a way that they weren't expecting. And it's just amazing. It's amazing what creativity can do. I am just going to keep on sketching here, adding layers one after the other, trying out different things. And I like the scumbling effect because it is bringing out really interesting marks as well. And this is a water-soluble crayon that I'm using. I think it's a Neo 2. It's water-soluble. And it's just giving layers into this. So yeah, beauty in the abstract. The inspiration. I am being inspired right now to follow what it is that drives me and to enjoy the process as I do, to give my all, to have fun, to really enjoy it. And in that enjoyment, when people come across your work, they will see that, they will recognize that there has been fun. There's been an unlimited, uncontrolled access to a free way of expressing yourself. And I think that is beautiful, that everybody should have that opportunity to be able to express themselves. Part of this process as well is that I was trying to remind myself of what I love to do from when I've always started being a creative person from childhood. And I really love patterns. So that is what I've tried to bring back in as well. So in different layers, when I have been marking things, I've been trying to bring back that pattern. So I'm just looking at that. I really like this little stripy bit here. So trying different colors against different layers as well. Like, it's really interesting. And it won't all show through, obviously, as you go along. I've remembered as well, I wanted to add some yellow to these pieces. So I will do that. Because some of them, when I'm seeing the yellow, I like that color. And this yellow, I've also written the names of what colors I use on them. So I'm trying to be really, really organized. It is not the way I usually work. I am always learning something new myself. It's just really interesting when you look at it again and you see the different marks you've made. I'm also trying to put some colors that are similar beside each other, so I could feed into that another time, because what I found is that I want to have that kind of transition of a variety of colors. So this is an example actually of a yellow, and I love the way that this yellow is through this, and there's so many interesting areas, and I'm starting to try and think, which I shouldn't. the last one, and I've used this color. So what I want to do next is probably use the yellow, like I said, and one of my tools here. So it takes me a little while to open these. I don't really know how long this session is going to be. I just wanted to share a little time with you guys as I am working through this. So, trying to think what tool I could use, because I've not used some of these tools for a while. I'll try this one. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to take a little bit of that and just use it up. And pull it a little bit. I think I'll leave that. So now when it starts getting wet like this, I have to put them aside so that I don't smudge them. So now I'm working backwards on the paintings that I've already drawn the green on, as I said. So let's lift this up a bit. I don't know how much of that you were seeing while I was scribbling. So yeah, let's just start. Trying to use the tool in different ways on all of them and see what it can do as well. I think that's a lot of fun. And so yeah, this is what I've been doing. It's just having fun. I think that the point of this channel mainly is to encourage you to do the same as well, to have fun like I am. I really encourage that. Really, really do. So I'm kind of just doing two areas with this, like here and then another side. And I'm going to go through that pile again of 28 pieces, basically. So let's try some diagonal marks. So the end of this, I'm hoping to have quite a lot of layers. I heard an artist kind of say that they go up to at least 40 layers on their artwork before they feel that they've impacted it in some way, you know, to give all those what will I say, luxurious textures in there. So as I look at all the pieces together, I'm just kind of thinking about what colors I can add. And I'm wanting to go through all these colors I have. Some of them are really dark and I don't feel they show up. So there's this thing about like light and dark. So you're having to think when you add a color, because if you add it, will it really show enough? Sometimes there will be subtle differences. So as I said, pattern is something that I have always loved doing, and so that is what is driving this drawing. Trying to think of a pattern as I'm going through. I might just do like the yellow all the way through on these, like just like this. So whatever tools you have is just to use them over and over. I'm going to do this on the whole page. And also I was thinking I might, the next time if I remember, is to turn the paper on its side, like horizontal, instead of as a portrait. That would be good to do. This is a new piece, and I'm gonna have to remind myself I don't want to do the same as I just did there. So what can I do? What else can I do with this? Maybe a line across. A line across for the rest of it. Like a studio practice, this is really, what would I say? It's very mundane. It's not something that you're thinking about. I think this is the best options for creativity. I really love not having to think too much. I'm just laying the shapes down. So I think I'll leave you guys here. I am just gonna keep on painting this. This is what I have to share with you guys today. I hope you don't mind. I just wanted to bring it into the studio to share a little time of what I am up to, and I'll keep working on these. You will see the process at some point of whatever I start to add on to some of these pieces. I don't want to limit it at the moment because I'm trying to just stick in this carefree, not thinking too much situation, because if I do, I'll probably start trying to control the marks I'm making, because I'll start assuming what I'm going to put on them. So I'm going to do some circles now, and I will see you guys next week. This is where you find me creating artwork every week, and so please do press the notification, like, subscribe, so that you can keep up with what I get up to here in the studio. And I am here to share what I do in my creative work, in my journey, also to encourage you to try it as well for yourself, because it's a lot of fun. I actually decided to share what I did later in the day after adding some more color onto the smaller pieces. It was like a lilac-y purple. I've gone on to then clear my table and start on a larger piece. This piece I've been looking at for some days. As I said, I'm trying to organize myself, so I've been collecting all the papers I have around the studio and looking at some of the pieces I have there that I want to work on. And this piece, I did paint a little bit of it earlier in the week, but the character is too far to the right for me, because as you can see, I was showing you earlier that I wanted to start using some mounts on these pieces, and it's too far to the right, so it's not going to show up the way I would like it to with the mounts I've got. And so I've decided to go over this piece with a new character, and I'm starting by just making some marks on the paper, getting a feel or an idea for what I might sketch on this piece. I don't always have a plan as to how I want to present my character, so I'm trying different angles for the head. And I'm remembering another piece I've done before that I really liked, and I haven't done one in that format for a while, kind of facing you know, seeing the profile of the stag. So I decided to do it that way, and I'm adding the other details now, just working on how I want the body to be, how I want the face to be, the ears, the antlers, you know, the horns on the top of the head of the stag. And then I'm going in with some more color. These are water soluble crayons that I'm using. And yeah, I'm really liking the way this character is forming. And as you go along, you get more and more of the picture of what it looks like. I'm putting in the characteristic legs that kind of show, and this is like a 3/4 piece, this character. So I have them in different positions whenever I am painting them. So the first one that was on the paper that you could see further back in the distance would have had more landscape around and would be deeper into the landscape. And then you would be able to see all of its legs and everything. But this one, you kind of get a closer profile of the character. I'm now outlining this a bit more for myself, mostly, with some acrylic ink. And I really love to draw the shapes in. And I love the way that the ink responds because it's not controlled. Yet again, kind of linking into the abstract aspect of how I like to do my work. It's not controlled, and it allows for experimentation and beautiful mistakes. Always beautiful mistakes. And I said before that I wanted to start using different tools in the art process. So I'm using this fan brush. I hardly ever use my fan brush. I have had this particular one that you can see here on the painting for so many years. I hardly ever use it, and I decided today that I wanted to use it, so I brought it out and put it amongst the other tools that I wanted to use. So I'm really digging deep with this piece, and I'm using as many different tools as possible. I want those different marks. I want this variety of marks. And yeah, I really enjoyed this process, and I wanted to share it with you guys, and I'm really glad that I did record it. I've kind of moved my table away from where it was when I recorded the first half of this video, and I'm really grateful that I can still have some light coming through the window so that it's still visible for you to see here. So I was trying to make my room a lot more comfortable from the way it was before, so that I can actually sit down and paint as well. Because I've mentioned before that this is the guest room I'm in, and the way I'd placed it, though it was in front of the window and it's the way I wanted it to be, I couldn't fit my chair on the other side of it because the bed is quite prominent in the room. So this positioning that I've got now will allow me to be able to sit down. Even though I'm not sitting down while I'm painting this, I'm standing up because I want to have a really good view of what the piece looks like. But I really want to change the variety of poses and positions that I sit in or I stand in when I'm painting, because that allows me to stretch my body a lot better. I have had some back issues recently, and I'm trying not to exacerbate that. So I want to be able to sit down or to stand up whenever I need to, and I'm trying to accommodate that in my space. But yeah, I really love the way that this character turned out. You can still see the hint of the other one behind, and this is what I mean about the art process. We have layers and layers and layers of other things underneath the current layer. And so if you're seeing the process like I'm sharing with you, you can see how the story has developed, and a little bit of that comes through at the end of every painting. The process, you take your time, you create the artwork, and you know the journey that you have gone through with that creative venture that you've taken, and it's just amazing. It's just so much fun. So I'm just adding more details again with the inks, trying to really get to sketch in there with my inks. And I'm using the brown ink right now. Let's see what ink. Let me see the name of the ink. It is burnt umber. So, and then I'm adding some of my characteristic kind of like foliage or dead leaf, or not leaf, maybe like moss or dirt that's hanging off the antlers. That's what I've just added there. And I'm putting some textures marks onto the body. And this is in order for me to pull the stag further towards us, or more towards us, by giving it some designs and patterns on its physical body so that it stands out a lot more from the background. So once I've added as much as I can for this layer, I am going to let it dry, and then when I come back, I think what I'll do is seal it with some gel medium so that just in case the ink decides to bleed, I will use like the flat shaper tool there, or one of the catalyst wedge that I have, and I will just go over it, or even maybe a palette knife, and go over it with some gel medium to seal it in. And then I will go over the next layer again once that has dried. But I think that it's a very handsome character here that I have, and I really love him. And it's just exciting when you can get a character that you enjoy creating. I really love the way the fan brush kind of gave its marks across the whole painting. And it's only this, the different tools give you so much, and it's to ask that much from them. So I'm kind of going over here at the edge to try and make sure I can get the stag to stand out from the edge of the paper. So that's what I was doing there, and then trying to make the legs a bit more visible down this way as well, and just trying to pull my character out from the background, and then going back in with the fan brush and getting some really nice marks. I really love the way those look. So I'll let all of this dry and I will come back to it. But yeah, I just wanted to share this last part with you guys. Please do subscribe, like, press the notification bell, and I will see you guys again next week. Bye.